I lost $400,000 in Thailand, my retirement, my dignity, 7 years of my life. And the worst part? I handed it all over willingly. Every single dollar. I saw the signs. I ignored every warning. I was the fool who believed a 28-year-old massage worker from Bangkok actually loved a 55-year-old divorced American. 7 years? 7 years of my life that I'll never get back. 7 years of believing we were building something together. 7 years of thinking I'd finally found someone who saw me for who I was, not what I had. Thailand taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Love isn't enough when greed is involved. And you can't save someone who sees you as an ATM machine with a heartbeat. This is how it happened. Let me take you back to early 2017. I was 55 years old, American, and I just finalized a brutal divorce after 23 years of marriage. I had approximately $600,000. It was everything the sale of our Colorado home after my ex-wife took her half, my $401k that I'd cashed out early, some inheritance from my father who'd passed 2 years prior. This was supposed to be my retirement. If I'd invested it conservatively, this would have given me roughly $3,000 every month for the rest of my life. My ex-wife had an affair with her personal trainer. After 23 years of marriage, she told me she needed to feel alive again. I found out when I came home early from a conference and found them in our bedroom. The bedroom where we'd raised 2 kids. The bedroom where I thought we'd grow old together. I'd spent my life as an IT project manager in Denver, pulling 60-hour weeks, climbing the corporate ladder. But somewhere along the way, I'd stopped living. I was 55 years old and I felt like I'd missed everything. My kids were grown and barely called. My marriage was over. My career felt meaningless. I had money, but nothing else. A friend from an online expat forum kept saying Thailand was paradise for guys like me. Owen, you can live like a king on $2,000 a month. The women are beautiful. The weather's perfect. The food's incredible. You're wasting your life in Colorado. I thought he was exaggerating. In March 2017, I arrived in Bangkok for what was supposed to be a 3-week vacation. The moment I stepped off that plane into the humid night air, something shifted. The energy was different. The streets were alive at midnight. Everything felt possible. The colors hit me first, the orange monk robes, the golden temples, the neon signs reflecting off wet streets, the smell of street food, grilled meat and fish sauce, and something sweet I couldn't identify. The sound of scooters weaving through traffic, vendors calling out, life happening everywhere at once. I rented a small condo in the Sukhumvit area for $800 a month, about 25,000 baht. Modern, clean, pool, gym. In Denver, this would have cost $3,000. I was spending maybe $1,500 a month total, living better than I had in years. Good food, comfortable place, no stress. If I'd kept things simple, none of this would have happened. But I wasn't thinking about simple. I was thinking about connection, about feeling wanted, about not being alone. And that's when I met her. I'd been in Thailand for 6 weeks when I met her. I wasn't looking for a massage parlor. I'd pulled a muscle in my back moving boxes in my condo, and the building security guard recommended a place on Soi 5. Good massage, not bar, he said. Professional. The place was small, clean, with potted plants out front and soft music playing. Kanika was different. She was 28 years old, about 5'3", with long, straight black hair and a quiet smile that didn't feel forced like the other girls who try to pull customers inside. She wore simple clothes, jeans, and a white shirt, not the tight dresses or heavy makeup. She seemed reserved, almost shy. When she spoke English, it was halting but sweet. She asked where I was from, how long I was staying, if I liked Thailand. The massage was actually good. She focused on my back pain, not trying to upsell me to anything else. We talked during the session. I told her about Colorado, about my divorce, about wanting a fresh start. She told me she was from a small town north of Bangkok, that she'd been in the city 3 years, that massage work was respectable and helped her send money to her family. Within 2 sessions, she told me about her life. She was from a village in Phetchabun province. Her father had died when she was young, heart attack in the rice fields. Her mother was 56 and couldn't work anymore because of her knees. Kanika had a younger brother in vocational school and a younger sister in high school. She sent money home every month, about 8,000 baht, roughly $250. Everything she made went to her family. I want better life, she said, but family need me. I am oldest daughter, is my duty. Kanika wasn't like the other girls. She didn't push me to take her out or buy her things. She seemed genuinely interested in talking, in learning about America, in practicing her English. When I asked if she'd have coffee with me after work, she hesitated, looked nervous, then smiled and said yes. I know what you're thinking. 55-year-old divorced guy, 28-year-old massage worker, sick mother story, every red flag in the book. But with her, it felt different. She didn't ask for money. She didn't talk about wanting an iPhone or designer bags. She talked about her family's rice farm and how the rains hadn't been good and how her mother prayed at the temple every day. On our third date dinner at a small restaurant near her apartment, she opened her phone and showed me pictures. Her mother in traditional Thai clothing outside a simple wooden house, her siblings in school uniforms, a family photo at a temple. These weren't staged, these were real. 2 weeks after we met, her mother needed surgery. Gallbladder. The hospital wanted 30,000 baht up front, about $900. Kanika was crying when she told me. She'd been saving for months but only had 15,000. She said she'd have to borrow from loan sharks. I gave her the money, $1,000. I didn't hesitate. She cried and hugged me and said I was the kindest man she'd ever met. Later, I'd remember this moment. The first time money changed hands. The first time I believed I was different. The first time I thought I was saving her. I was wrong. Over the next 6 months, we became inseparable. I paid her salary 25,000 baht a month, about $750, so she could quit the massage shop. I knew I wanted to marry her. I thought I'd found someone who needed me, who appreciated me, who saw past my age to the man I was inside. I was wrong. Over the next 6 months, life felt like I'd stepped into a movie I never thought I'd get to live. We fell into a routine. She'd come to my condo in the mornings, cook breakfast, simple Thai food, omelets with fish sauce, rice porridge. We'd explore Bangkok together, evening markets, temple visits, weekend trips to the beach. She taught me basic Thai phrases. I helped her practice English. My pension from 30 years of IT work gave me $4,800 a month. Rent was $800. Living expenses maybe $1,000. I was giving Kanika $750 a month, plus another $300 or so for her family emergencies. I was still saving money, something I'd never managed in Colorado with mortgage payments and my ex-wife's spending habits. Then her brother got into a motorcycle accident. Broken leg, hospital bills. 25,000 baht, about $750. I sent it the same day. I didn't want to say no. I was terrified she'd go back to the massage shop or, worse, see me as just another cheap foreigner. I kept thinking about my ex-wife, about how she'd always said I was never generous enough, never spontaneous. Here was my chance to be different. Looking back, this was when the pattern started. Small requests, family emergencies, my fear of losing her, her gratitude that felt so genuine I couldn't see the manipulation. 3 months later, I asked her to marry me. Actually, it was more complicated than that. Her mother was visiting Bangkok, and after dinner, Kanika mentioned that her mother thought we were serious and wanted to know my intentions. The conversation felt natural, not forced. I'd been thinking about it anyway. Then came sinsot. I'd read about it online, the traditional Thai bride price, a symbolic amount that shows respect to the family, usually returned after the ceremony. Kanika's family wanted 200,000 baht, about $6,000. I'd researched this. For a woman with some education who'd worked professionally, this was actually on the lower end. Some families asked for millions. I negotiated down to $150,000, $4,500. Kanika said her mother agreed but seemed disappointed. I felt guilty for haggling. I gave the full $200,000, $6,000 to show I respected her family, that I wasn't a cheap Charlie, that I was serious about this. In December 2017, we married in her village in Phetchabun. The ceremony cost another 50,000 baht, $1,500. Traditional Thai wedding, monks chanting, flower garlands. Kanika in a stunning gold traditional dress. Her entire village came. They roasted a pig. There was Thai whiskey and dancing. Everyone smiled at me, shook my hand, called me brother. I felt like I belonged somewhere for the first time in years. At this point, I'd spent about $65,000 total since meeting her. Breakdown. Initial, mother's surgery, $1,000. Monthly allowances, 6 months, $4,500. Brother's accident, $750. Various family help, $2,250. Sinsot, $6,000. Wedding, $1,500. Total, $16,000. I still had $584,000. I felt confident, generous even. This was my new life. When we got back to Bangkok, things shifted slightly. Kanika mentioned that staying in my small condo felt temporary, not like a real home. She'd scroll through property listings on her phone, showing me houses in the suburbs, talking about having space, maybe starting a small business someday, building a real life together. I thought marriage would make her happy, make me feel less alone, give my life purpose again. I was wrong. The first year of marriage felt like a slow leak I didn't notice until I was already underwater. We were still living in my Sukhumvit condo. Rent was $800 a month, manageable. My monthly expenses looked like this. Rent, $800. Food and utilities, $600. Kanika's allowance, $750. Sending to her family, $400. Entertainment and misc, $450. Total, $3,000. My income was $4,800. I should have been saving $1,800 a month. Instead, I was barely breaking even because the miss category kept exploding. Kanika wasn't demanding. Exactly. She was subtle. She'd walk past a jewelry store and pause just long enough for me to notice. She'd mention her friend's husband bought her a new phone. She'd say, "I still use old iPhone 6, but okay, I understand we save money." One day she saw a gold necklace, a simple Thai-style chain with a Buddha pendant, 12,000 baht, about $360. She didn't ask for it. She just took a photo and showed me later. So beautiful. Maybe someday. I bought it the next week. She cried and said I was too good to her. That phrase destroyed me. It's only amount. Because it happened dozens of times. Only $300 for new clothes. Only $200 for her phone repair. Only $500 for her mother's medication. Small enough that saying no felt petty. Large enough that, by the end of each month, I'd spent an extra $1,000 on things I couldn't quite remember. Her mother developed diabetes. Real? Probably. But the medication costs seemed to fluctuate wildly. Some months it was 5,000 baht, some months 20,000, about $600 at the high end. I sent it every time. Kanika would show me her mother's medical receipts all in Thai, which I couldn't read. This happened like clockwork. Every 6 to 8 weeks, a new family medical crisis. Her brother's motorcycle needed repairs. Her sister needed school supplies. The house roof was leaking. The water pump broke. Then Kanika started comparing. Her friend Nock's husband, a 60-year-old German, had bought them a new Toyota. Her cousin's boyfriend took her to Phuket every month. "I'm not complaining," she'd say. "I know you do best you can. I just think sometimes maybe I don't know, forget it." It made me feel inadequate, like I was failing her the way I'd failed my ex-wife. She started spending more time on her phone. When I'd ask what she was doing, she'd say, "Just chatting with friends," or looking at houses. If I tried to see, she'd tilt the screen away, laugh, say, "Why you want to see? Just girl talk." I let it go. I didn't want to be the jealous, controlling husband. I didn't want to be the insecure old man. I was becoming increasingly isolated. My few expat friends had stopped inviting me out after I'd canceled plans multiple times because Kanika wanted to visit her family or said she felt lonely when I went drinking with the guys. I spent my days in the condo, helping her improve her English, watching Thai soap operas I didn't understand, eating the meals she cooked. By October 2018, 10 months into marriage, I'd spent another $30,000 on top of normal expenses, small purchases, family emergencies, her allowance creeping up from $750 to $900 to $1,000 a month because cost of everything going up. My original $600,000 was down to $538,000. I'd spent $62,000 in 18 months. Not catastrophic, but the acceleration was noticeable. I was 47 years old the first time I met my ex-wife. Now I was 56, and I could feel time running out. The thought of starting over again, alone, seemed impossible. Then Kanika started talking about a house. This was when things went from bad to catastrophic. In November 2018, Kanika said, "Baby, I want to talk about future, our future." We were having dinner at a mall food court. She pulled out her phone and showed me property listings. We need our own home, real home, not rent apartment forever. We build equity. We have space. Maybe I start small business from home. We make real life together. She'd found a house, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, small yard, in a development outside Bangkok in Pattaya province, 40 minutes from the city center without traffic. The house was listed at 2.8 million baht, about $84,000. My immediate reaction was panic mixed with pride. Pride that my wife wanted to build a future with me. Panic because I knew the laws. I had 3 major concerns. First, foreigners can't own land in Thailand. The house would have to be in her name. Second, $84,000 was a huge chunk of my savings. Third, what if something went wrong? Kanika had answers for everything. The house in my name? Yes, but we are married. In Thai law, assets acquired during marriage are shared. You are protected. This wasn't entirely true, but I didn't know that yet. $84,000 seems like big money, but in America, houses cost $300,000, $400,000. Here, we get so much more. And think about rent, we pay $900 every month. That's almost $11,000 a year. In 8 years, we pay same amount with nothing to show. This way, we build equity. If something wrong, then we have problem in marriage, not because of house. House is investment in US. You trust me or you don't. She had additional pressure from her mother. My mother says if man truly loves woman, he provides home, not renting. She asked me why you don't take care of me properly. I feel embarrassed. I started to rationalize. Maybe she was right. I was paying $900 a month for nothing. In 10 years, that would be over $100,000. At least with a house, we'd have an asset. She seemed committed to making our life work. She'd quit her job for me, moved to Bangkok, married me. She wasn't asking for a mansion, just a modest home. The age difference nagged at me. I was 56, she was 29. But I'd read stories online of successful marriages with larger age gaps. Love transcends age, right? And she'd never given me a reason to doubt her. She cooked for me, took care of me, seemed happy. I thought about my ex-wife, who'd owned half of everything. Anyway, and still betrayed me. At least Kanika seemed appreciative. At least here I felt valued. The lease on my condo was up in 2 months. The landlord wanted to raise the rent to $1,000 a month. That pushed me over the edge. I told Kanika we'd buy the house. Looking back, I'd ignored every warning. I'd rationalized away obvious red flags because I was terrified of being alone, of being seen as cheap, of losing the only person who'd made me feel wanted in years. The house became a symbol of my worth as a man. Foreigners can't own land in Thailand, period. The house deed would be entirely in her name. I'd have zero legal claim if things went south. I knew this. I'd read it on expat forums. I'd heard warnings from other guys at bars. But I told myself we were different. We were married. She loved me. This was our future, not a scam. Over 3 months, we navigated the purchase process. Kanika handled everything: the real estate agent, the bank visits, the paperwork. Everything was in Thai. I signed documents I couldn't read, trusting her translations. "This is just normal contract," she'd say. "This is for the transfer. This is for the utility setup." The house cost more than $84,000 by the time we were done. There were agent fees, transfer fees, renovations because Kanika said the kitchen was old and the bathroom needed updating. She wanted new tiles, a better stove, air conditioning in every room. Final cost, 3 million baht, $90,000. During the purchase, small things bothered me, but I dismissed them. The real estate agent spoke to Kanika in rapid Thai, and sometimes they'd both laugh, glance at me, then switch back to English. When I asked what was funny, Kanika would say, "Nothing, baby. Just Thai joke. You wouldn't understand." The paperwork showed only her name. When I asked about adding mine, the agent and Kanika both explained patiently, like I was slow, that it was impossible for foreigners. "But you are married. So is your house too," Kanika assured me. Same. Her family visited during the renovation and stayed for 3 weeks. They treated the house like it was a family asset, not ours. Her brother used the spare bedroom as storage for his motorcycle parts. Her mother rearranged the kitchen to her liking. When I objected, Kanika said, "Thai culture. Family is important. You are family now too." By February 2019, 2 years after I'd arrived in Thailand, I'd spent $90,000 on the house. I was down to $448,000. I'd burned through $152,000, over 25% of my savings, in less than 2 years. But when we moved in and I saw Kanika smiling, arranging furniture, talking about planting a garden, I felt satisfied. She seemed so happy. Her mother came for the housewarming and made a big ceremony with monks blessing the house. Everyone kept telling me I was a good husband, a generous man. I thought, this is it. This is what happiness looks like. I've built something. I was wrong. The house was just the beginning. 6 months after moving into the house, things started to unravel in ways I didn't see coming. June 2019. We'd been in the house 4 months. Kanika seemed restless. She'd spent years working, sending money home, surviving in Bangkok. Now she had a house in the suburbs, a foreign husband, and nothing to do all day. She started talking about opening a small restaurant. "Baby, I'm bored. I want to do something. I want to help make money, not just spend your money. Thai people love food. I make good Thai food." We opened small restaurant, maybe near house, just simple place. Som tam, pad Thai, grilled chicken. I already have customers, neighbors, people in development. I can make money, help us, feel useful again. The idea wasn't crazy. Thailand's full of small family-run restaurants. She was a good cook. The neighborhood was growing, with young Thai families moving in. It seemed reasonable. It seemed like she was trying to contribute. She'd done research. A small shophouse rental nearby was 12,000 baht a month, about $360. Equipment would cost maybe 200,000 baht, 6,000. Renovations, signage, initial inventory, permits another 300,000. About $15,000 total to get started. I was hesitant. I'd already spent 90,000 on the house. But Kanika pushed back emotionally. "You don't believe in me. You think I cannot do business. You want me just sit home like lazy wife. I want to help us, but you say no," she cried. She withdrew physically, sleeping with her back to me, giving short answers to questions. Her mother called. Through Kanika's translation, she said it was good for Thai wife to have business, that it would give me respect in the community, that Kanika needed purpose. The guilt crushed me. I gave her $20,000 in stages, 15,000 up front, 5 more over the next 2 months as costs, unexpectedly, rose, always something she hadn't planned for. Better refrigerator, health permits, extra chairs and tables. The restaurant opened in August 2019. It was small but charming, bright yellow paint, plastic chairs, a hand-painted sign. Kanika worked hard at first. She'd wake at 6 a.m. to prep ingredients, cook lunch service, clean up, prep dinner. I'd visit daily, eat her food, bring her iced coffee. She seemed energized. Some days were busy. Some days only a few customers came. But within 3 months, cracks appeared. Every 2 weeks, Kanika needed more money. The refrigerator broke 15,000 baht. A customer didn't pay 8,000 baht loss. Ingredients cost more than she'd projected, another 20,000. The pattern was relentless. She'd come home tired, stressed, saying the business was harder than she thought. I felt guilty that I doubted her. I kept giving her money. I asked to see the books. She'd show me crumpled receipts, all in Thai. We making small profit, but just small. Need more time to grow. When I suggested I visit during business hours more often, she'd say she was embarrassed for me to see the slow days, that she wanted to surprise me when it was really successful. Over 6 months, I put another $30,000 into the restaurant. Between the initial investment and the ongoing losses, I'd spent 50,000 total. At the same time, our home life deteriorated. Kanika was always tired. She'd come home at 9 or 10 p.m., eat quickly, and go straight to bed. When I tried to initiate intimacy, she'd say she was exhausted, her body hurt, she needed rest. We went from making love several times a week to once or twice a month. I told myself it was the stress of the new business. She started spending more time on her phone again, late-night messages after I'd gone to bed. When I'd wake up to use the bathroom, I'd see her screens glow from under the blanket. Just coordinating with suppliers, she'd say, or talking to my mother. I wanted to believe her. Her phone was password protected. When I asked why, she said, "My phone, my privacy. You don't trust me?" I dropped it. I didn't want to be controlling. I didn't want to be the jealous old husband. Her friends started coming by the house, Thai women I didn't know, who'd speak rapid Thai, glance at me, giggle. When I'd ask what they were talking about, Kanika would say, "Girl stuff. Not important." They stopped coming when I was around. One night, an old Thai man, maybe 70, rough-looking, came to the restaurant while I was there. He looked at Kanika, said something in Thai, smiled in a way that felt knowing. She went pale, answered quickly, and he left. When I asked who he was, she said, "Just old customer. He comes sometimes." Her hands were shaking. The restaurant's money wasn't adding up. She said they made 40,000 baht a month, about $1,200, but she needed constant infusions of cash. Where was the revenue going? When I pressed, she'd get defensive. "You think I'm stealing? You think I'm lying? Maybe I just close the business if you don't trust me." I'd back off. Meanwhile, her family requests increased. Her brother wanted to start a motorcycle taxi business, needed 50,000 baht for a bike. Her sister wanted to go to Bangkok for nursing school. Tuition was 60,000 baht a year. Her mother's diabetes medication now cost 20,000 baht monthly. Every request came with Kanika in tears, saying she felt trapped between her family and me, that in Thai culture you can't say no to family, that I didn't understand because I was Western. I sent it all, every request, because by this point I'd already invested so much. The house, 90,000. The restaurant, 50,000. 2 years of allowances and family help, another 40,000. I was at $180,000 spent. I'd lost 30% of my savings. The sunk cost fallacy had me in a death grip. If I walked away now, all of that money was gone. If I kept investing, maybe it would work out. By February 2020, exactly 3 years after meeting Kanika, I'd spent $210,000. I had $390,000 left. I was 58 years old. My income barely covered our monthly expenses and her business losses. I wasn't saving anything anymore. I felt trapped in a cage I'd built myself. I was isolated from other expats, dependent on Kanika for everything: translation, navigation, social life. I had no ownership of anything in Thailand. If she left, I had nothing. That fear kept me compliant. I kept telling myself, "She's stressed. The business will turn around. Marriage takes work. I can't give up now. Then COVID hit, and everything I thought I knew exploded. March 2020, the world shut down. Thailand closed its borders. Bangkok went into lockdown. The restaurant closed indefinitely. Suddenly, Kanika was home all day, every day. This should have brought us closer. It did the opposite. She was glued to her phone more than ever. She'd wake up and immediately check messages. She'd excuse herself to the bathroom for 30-minute stretches. She'd go outside to get fresh air, and I'd hear her on voice calls, speaking rapid Thai in hushed tones. When I'd ask who she was talking to, she'd say her mother, her friends, her brother. One afternoon in April, her phone rang while she was in the shower. It was sitting on the coffee table next to me. The screen lit up, Cobb calling. I didn't recognize the name. The call went to voicemail. Then a line message appeared on the locked screen. When can I see you? I miss you. Don't make me wait so long next time. My hands went cold. The message was in English. I took a photo of the screen with my phone. When Kanika came out of the shower, I said nothing. I wanted to see what she'd do. She checked her phone, saw the missed call, and stepped outside to call back. I followed quietly and stood near the door. She was speaking Thai, but her tone was soft, almost affectionate. Over the next 2 weeks, I paid attention to everything. She'd take her phone to the bathroom. She'd angle her screen away when I was near. She'd get messages at odd hours, and her face would light up briefly before she saw me watching, and her expression would neutral out. I confronted her about Cobb. Who is Cobb? Why is he saying he misses you? She didn't miss a beat. Cobb is my cousin. I told you about him. He lives in Chiang Mai. He misses family because of COVID. You are jealous of my cousin? She laughed like I was being ridiculous. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her, because if I didn't, then everything, the house, the restaurant, 3 years of my life, was based on a lie. Then a friend named Tom reached out. Tom was a British expat I'd met at a bar 2 years earlier. We'd been casual friends before I married Kanika and stopped going out. He sent me a Facebook message. Owen, mate, I need to talk to you. It's important. Can we meet? We met at a coffee shop near my house. Tom looked uncomfortable. This is difficult, but you need to know. Your wife. I've seen her at the restaurant, with a Thai bloke, young guy, maybe 35. They were sitting very close, holding hands under the table. I saw them kiss. I'm sorry, mate. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. When? A few times. Last time was February, before COVID. I wasn't sure if I should say anything. I know it's not my place, but with lockdown, I kept thinking you have a right to know. I went home shaking. I didn't confront Kanika immediately. I needed proof. I started checking things while she slept. I couldn't access her phone, the password was changed frequently. But I started noticing patterns. She'd get dressed up to go to the market, makeup, nice clothes, perfume. She'd be gone for 3 hours to buy vegetables. She'd come back with minimal groceries. She had new clothes I'd never seen her buy. Nice dresses, new shoes. When I asked where they came from, she'd say, I bought long time ago, or my friend gave me. Bills for the restaurant showed that even during lockdown, there were expenses, but the restaurant was closed. When I asked, she said it was maintenance, keeping the space ready to reopen, paying the landlord. I couldn't take it anymore. I hired a private investigator, a Thai man recommended by an expat lawyer. It cost 20,000 baht, about $600. I gave him Kanika's photo, the restaurant address, our house address. 3 weeks later, he sent me a report with photos. My world collapsed. Kanika had never stopped seeing someone, possibly multiple people. The photo showed her with a Thai man in his 30s, muscular, tattoos. They were at the restaurant together, sitting close, his arm around her. They were at a condo building I didn't recognize, entering together, leaving separately. Hours later, there was a photo of them on a motorbike together, her arms wrapped around him. The timeline made sense now. Every late night at the restaurant, every family emergency that required her to travel to her village alone, every time she'd been distant or cold with me, she'd been with him. The investigator's report included one more detail. The man's name was Somchai. He'd been her boyfriend before we met. According to neighbors the investigator interviewed, Somchai had been living part-time in the house I'd bought our house during periods when I was away visiting my kids in Colorado. Suddenly, everything made sense. The old man at the restaurant who'd made her nervous, he knew. He knew she was playing me. The friends who'd giggle and speak Thai around me, they all knew. Tom had seen her with Somchai before and tried to warn me indirectly by inviting me out more. The way she'd insisted the house be in her name, the way she'd wanted the restaurant where she could operate independently. Kanika had never left Somchai. I was the ATM funding their life together. The money I'd sent for her mother's medical bills, probably real, but also inflated to siphon extra cash. The restaurant, maybe it existed, but the losses were manufactured or the profits were going to Somchai. The family emergencies, some real, some exaggerated, all ways to extract money. I calculated what I'd given her outside of the house and restaurant, approximately $60,000 in allowances, family help, and emergencies over 3 years. I'd spent $270,000 total. I had $330,000 left. At 58 years old, I'd lost nearly half my retirement to a woman who'd been cheating on me the entire time. I felt humiliation, rage, self-hatred. I'd been so desperate to be loved, so terrified of being alone, that I'd ignored every red flag. I'd handed my life savings to someone who saw me as a retirement plan with a pulse. I had to decide what to do. Confront her with the evidence, try to recover some money, get out of Thailand. But how? Everything was in her name. I had no legal claim to any of it. That night, May 2020, I sat in the dark with the investigator's photos on my phone. Kanika was asleep in our bed. I looked at her and felt nothing but disgust for her and for myself. The next morning, I would confront her. And I'd learn there was even more I didn't know. The next morning, Kanika woke up and came into the kitchen where I was sitting with coffee. I'd been awake all night. I put my phone on the table, opened to the photos. I said, "We need to talk, right now." She looked at the phone, saw the first photo, her and Somchai at the restaurant. Her face went blank for a second, then shifted into something between panic and calculation. "Where you get these? You spy on me? Who is he, Kanika?" She tried denial first. "That is my friend, just friend from before. You are jealous and crazy." I swiped to the next photo, them entering a condo building together. "What kind of friend? We just talking. Is normal. Thai people are close with friends, not like Farang who are cold." I swiped to another photo, his arm around her, her head on his shoulder. "Why you do this? Why you follow me? You don't trust me, so you hire spy?" She was getting angry, trying to flip the script. "This is disrespectful. I am your wife." I stayed calm. I'd prepared for this. "I want the truth, all of it, right now, or I leave Thailand and you get nothing more from me." That stopped her. The anger dropped. She calculated. She knew the money pipeline was about to shut off. Her whole body language shifted. She sat down, put her face in her hands, and started crying, not the gentle tears from before. These were loud, dramatic sobs. Okay, I tell truth." She admitted that Somchai was her boyfriend before we met. She claimed she'd tried to leave him, but he wouldn't let her go. "Thai men are jealous. Not like you. He threatened me. He said he will hurt me if I leave. I have to see him sometimes to keep him calm." "Bullshit. The photos show you're happy with him." She changed tactics. "Okay, yes. I still have feelings for him, but I love you too. Different love. You are secure, kind. He is exciting, but no future with him. You are my future." "How long has this been going on?" She hesitated. "Sometimes. Not always. Just sometimes when you go to America or when I feel lonely." "Has he been in this house? The house I paid for?" She looked away. "1 time, 2 times. When you were gone, long time. I felt sick. Where did the restaurant money go? What you mean? I put $50,000 into that restaurant. You said it was barely breaking even. Where's the money? The restaurant is hard. I told you. Equipment, rent, food costs. You're lying. How much did Somchai get? She broke. I don't know. Maybe I give him some money. He needs help too. He has family. How much? Maybe 20,000. Over time, small amounts. 20,000 of my dollars had gone to her boyfriend, to help him. While I thought I was building a life with her, I asked the questions that had been eating me alive. Why me? Why did you choose me? She looked tired. You were nice. You had money. You seemed lonely. You wanted to believe. It was easy. Did you ever love me? She paused too long. I care about you. You are a good man. But love? I don't know. Maybe I don't know what love is. Maybe love is not real for people like me. I need to survive. You wanted Thai wife? I needed security. Same. Who else knows? Everyone knows. My family, my friends, people in village. They know you are sponsor. Is normal in Thailand. We don't talk about it, but everyone knows. That destroyed me more than anything. I'd thought I was building a real marriage, and I was a walking punchline. The generous farang. The walking ATM. Everyone pitied me or laughed at me behind my back. I felt rage, devastation, and crushing self-hatred. I'd been so desperate for validation, so terrified of dying alone, that I'd willingly walked into this. I want to know exactly what I own. The house, the restaurant, everything. She looked at me coldly now. The mask was fully off. You own nothing. House is my name. Restaurant is my name. In Thailand, you are nobody. You cannot own land. You cannot own business without Thai partner. I am partner. I own everything. We're married. That counts for something legally. She laughed. Actually laughed. You think Thai court will help you? Old Farang man come to court and say young Thai wife don't love him? They will laugh at you. Foreigners come to Thailand, spend money on Thai women, then complain after. Nobody has sympathy. I tried to do the math. The house was worth maybe 90,000. Still I'd paid 90 and it hadn't appreciated much. The restaurant equipment was worth maybe 5,000 now, used. Everything else was spent, gone, unrecoverable. What about the money I've sent your family? Your mother's medical bills? That money is spent, gone. You cannot get back. Was your mother even sick? She shrugged. She has diabetes, is real. But maybe not so expensive as I say. Maybe I add some for me. I asked about the baby question. Even though we didn't have children. If we'd had a kid, would it have been mine? We never tried for baby. I take pill. You are too old for baby anyway. I felt physically ill. Every moment of tenderness, every gesture of love, every time I'd believed I was building something real, it had all been performance. Transactional. I was an investment that had finally matured. I asked what happens now. She was pragmatic. You can stay. We can continue same as before. I won't see Somchai so much. You keep giving money. We live good life. Or you can leave. Go back to America. But you leave everything here. Your choice. I asked if she felt anything. Guilt, remorse, anything. I feel tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of old Farang man who thinks 28-year-old girl loves him for personality. She looked at me with something like pity. You knew. Deep down, you knew. You just didn't want to know. It's not my fault you lied to yourself. She was right. I had known. Every red flag, every weird moment, every time something didn't add up, I'd pushed it down because the truth was too painful. Everything was in her name. The house I'd bought for $90,000. The restaurant I'd funded for $50,000. There was no legal recourse. Prenup? I'd never gotten one. Thai lawyers had told me that even with a prenup, foreign men had almost no rights. Shared marital assets? Only if you could prove contributions. And all my bank transfers were voluntary gifts as far as the law was concerned. I had $330,000 left in my U.S. bank account at 58 years old. No house, no business, no wife, no dignity. That evening, I made my decision. I'd get out of Thailand, cut my losses, start over, because staying meant bleeding out slowly while Kanika and Somchai lived in the house I'd paid for. The next week would show me just how much worse it could get. Over the next 2 weeks, as I prepared to leave, I learned things that made the betrayal feel even deeper. As I went through old documents and bank statements, I noticed patterns I'd been too trusting to see before. The emergency payments to her family clustered around the same times Somchai would appear in our neighborhood, according to neighbors I quietly spoke to. The restaurant's supposed busy months always coincided with Kanika's requests for time away from me. I'd been the third wheel in my own marriage. People knew. The security guard at our development, when I asked him directly, confirmed that Somchai had been a regular visitor. I thought he was your brother-in-law, sir. He comes often when you're not here. The market vendors near the restaurant knew about Somchai and Kanika. When I asked them through a translator app on my phone, they looked embarrassed and confirmed the relationship. I'd been living in a glass cage while everyone watched. The generous American, the fool, the walking punchline. I calculated everything I'd given her over 3 years and 4 months. Initial support, 2017, $16,000. House, 2019, $90,000. Restaurant, 2019 to 2020, $50,000. Ongoing allowances, 40 months times $850 average, $34,000. Family emergencies and extras, $30,000. Business losses and unexpected costs, $30,000 total lost, $250,000. I had $350,000 remaining of my original $600,000. At 58 years old, I destroyed half my retirement. The house and restaurant I'd funded were worth maybe $75,000 combined if sold today, but I'd never see a penny of it. The rest, $175,000, was simply gone, vaporized into family emergencies, inflated costs, and my willful ignorance. I couldn't stay in Thailand. There was no legal path to recover anything. I consulted with an expat lawyer in Bangkok. He was sympathetic but blunt. Foreign men in your situation have almost no legal recourse. The property is in her name. You made voluntary transfers, unless you can prove fraud, and even then Thai courts favor Thai nationals in domestic disputes. You could file for divorce, but it'll cost you more in legal fees than you'll recover. My advice: leave. Take what you can. Start over. He told me 4 specific facts that sealed my fate. Foreigners can't own land, period. The house was legally hers. Always had been. Business ownership requires Thai partnership, and she controlled the business entity. Divorce proceedings would take years and cost tens of thousands in legal fees. Even if I won a settlement, collecting it would be nearly impossible. I tried one last negotiation with Kanika. I offered to sign over everything, house, restaurant, all claims if she'd give me $30,000 as a settlement, a fraction of what I'd put in. She refused. You gave me gift. You cannot take back gift. This is Thai law. You want to leave? You leave. But you leave with nothing. I looked at my options. Stay in Thailand. Continue the humiliation. Keep bleeding money. Slow death. Fight in Thai courts. Drain my savings on legal fees. Mutual destruction. Leave Thailand with my remaining $350,000 and rebuild. Painful survival. I chose option 3. Because staying meant becoming one of those broken expats I'd seen in bars, bitter, alcoholic, trapped by sunk costs and fading hope. This was when I understood Thailand clearly for the first time. I thought I could have a romantic adventure, a second chance, a meaningful connection in an exotic place. But the truth was harsher. I was a foreigner in a system designed to separate me from my money. The smiles were professional courtesy. The affection was transactional. The belonging was an illusion I paid for monthly. 4 observations I should have understood years earlier. The walking ATM. The moment I said I was retired with savings, I became a target, not a person, a resource. The smile. Thai people smile constantly, and I mistook politeness for warmth, cultural hospitality for personal acceptance. The belonging. I thought I belonged. I didn't. I was tolerated, monetized, and would be forgotten the moment my money dried up. The system. Thailand's laws around foreign ownership aren't designed to protect foreigners. They're designed to protect Thai nationals from foreigners. In any dispute, I was always going to lose. My mental state collapsed. I stopped sleeping more than a few hours a night. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. and think about all the moments I'd ignored warning signs. I had no friends in Thailand anymore. My kids back in Colorado knew I'd married someone young in Thailand, but we'd grown distant. I thought of myself as worldly, experienced, a guy who'd built a successful IT career and navigated corporate America. But I'd been a mark, an easy target, a lonely middle-aged man desperate to believe. I had 3 choices for where to go. Back to Colorado, face my ex-wife, my kids, admit total failure, stay in Southeast Asia somewhere cheaper, Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, start completely fresh, somewhere new. I chose Vietnam. Close enough to be familiar, far enough to escape Thailand's shadow. Cheaper cost of living. And I couldn't face going home and admitting to my kids that I'd blown half my retirement on a woman who'd been playing me the entire time. In June 2020, I packed 2 suitcases. I left behind the house, the restaurant, 3 years of my life, and $250,000. Kanika didn't even say goodbye. She was on her phone texting when I walked out the door. What I didn't know was that leaving wouldn't be the end. The aftermath would be harder than the betrayal itself. June 2020, I boarded a repatriation flight from Bangkok to Ho Chi Minh City. Thailand's borders were still largely closed, but a few countries were accepting foreigners. Vietnam was one of them. The last time I saw Kanika, she was sitting on the couch in the house I'd bought. Our house. Her house. She was on her phone, laughing at something on the screen. I stood there with my 2 suitcases, waiting for something, remorse, acknowledgement, anything. She glanced up briefly. You going now? Yes. Okay. Have safe trip. That was it. No apology. No thank you for the $250,000. No acknowledgement of 3 years together. I was a chapter closing. She'd already moved on. I left behind. House, $90,000. Restaurant, $50,000 invested, worth maybe $5,000. Used, furniture and possessions. $5,000. 3 years of my life. Total, $250,000. And a life I thought I was building. With me, $350,000 in my U.S. bank account, my passport, 2 suitcases of clothes, and the crushing weight of humiliation. Vietnam accepted me on a business visa that I'd paid an agency to arrange. I landed in Ho Chi Minh City, quarantined for 2 weeks in a government facility, and then found a small studio apartment in District 3 for $300 a month. My new life, a 400-square-foot studio, a single bed, a hot plate, a plastic chair on a tiny balcony where I drink instant coffee and watch the chaos of Vietnamese traffic below. I was 58 years old, starting over in a country where I didn't speak the language, with half the money I'd arrived in Southeast Asia with 4 years earlier. Thailand, what it took. Savings, $250,000. Time, 3.5 years. Dignity, every last shred. Future security, cut in half. Ability to trust. Destroyed Thailand, what it gave. Lessons I didn't want. Humiliation I'll never forget. A clarity that came too late. Stories that other men refused to believe. Thailand wasn't evil. Thailand was a mirror. It showed me exactly who I was. A lonely, desperate man willing to pay for the illusion of love because the alternative, dying alone, terrified me more than poverty. Not all Thai people are scammers. I know that. Plenty of. Expats have successful relationships, businesses, lives. But the system is designed to favor Thai nationals, and the culture creates opportunities for exploitation that desperate foreign men walk into willingly. I was one of them. The country revealed my weakness, and Kanika exploited it with surgical precision. She saw a man who needed to be needed, who equated money with love, who was terrified of abandonment. She played that perfectly. The tears, the family emergencies, the gratitude, the illusion that I was saving her when really, she was harvesting me. November 2024. I'm 62 years old. I'm still in Vietnam, in Da Nang now. I moved here 2 years ago because it's quieter, cheaper, and I could rent a nicer place by the beach. I have $285,000 left. I've been careful. I rent a small apartment for $400 a month. I live on about $1,200 total. My U.S. Social Security kicked in at 62 early, reduced benefits giving me about $1,900 a month. Between that and careful withdrawals from savings, I survive. I live in a one-bedroom apartment with a view of the ocean. It's simple, clean, quiet. My health is declining. High blood pressure, probably from stress, early signs of diabetes. I can't afford U.S. healthcare, and Vietnamese healthcare is cheap but limited. I have no close relationships. A few expat acquaintances I drink coffee with sometimes. We talk about weather, politics, anything but the real reason we're all here. Most of us are running from something. Some days I feel okay. I walk on the beach. I read. I cook simple meals. Other days I wake up and feel the weight of every decision that led me here. Most days I just exist. I go through the motions. I'm functional but empty. If I could go back, I'd never get on that plane to Bangkok. I'd invest the $600,000 conservatively, stay in Colorado, work part-time, join a hiking group, try to rebuild my relationship with my kids. But I can't go back. This is my life. Now, a beach town in Vietnam, a shrinking bank account, and decades of regret. Looking ahead, I have maybe 15 years if I'm lucky. I'll run out of money around 75 if I'm disciplined. After that, I don't know. I try not to think about it. If you're reading this or watching this video, you're probably considering a move to Thailand, or you're already there and something feels off. Here are 7 things I learned the hard way. Maybe someone will listen. Maybe someone will avoid my mistakes. Lesson has shown. Property. Never put property in her name. I thought our marriage meant the house was ours. I thought Thai law protected me as a spouse. I was wrong on both counts. The house was legally hers the moment the deed was signed. When things fell apart, I had zero claim to the $90,000 I'd spent. The alternatives are simple. Rent. Stay flexible. Keep your money liquid. If she insists on buying a house together and having it in her name, that's your red flag. Walk away. No real partner would demand you sink your life savings into an asset you can't legally own. If she truly loves you, she'll understand why you want to protect yourself. If she doesn't understand, she's not thinking about your future together, she's thinking about her future without you. This cost me $90,000. Don't let it cost you yours. Lesson #2. Age gap. If the age gap is 20 plus years, it's not love. I was 55. She was 28. That's 27 years. I told myself age didn't matter, that we connected on a deeper level, that she was mature for her age and I was young at heart. These were lies I needed to believe. Ask yourself, would this woman be with me if I were her age and broke? Would she stay if the money stopped? If we lived in her village on a Thai income, would she choose me? If the answer is no, or if you can't honestly answer yes, then you know what this is. The truth is brutal. 20-something women in Thailand can have 20-something Thai men. When they choose 50-something foreign men, it's transactional. They're trading youth for security. You're trading money for companionship. It's not romance. It's commerce. Be honest about what you're buying and what it costs. Lesson #3. Family money. The family emergencies never stop. In 3 years, I sent approximately $30,000 to Kanika's family. Her mother's diabetes, her brother's motorcycle, her sister's school, the house roof, the water pump, medical bills. Every 8 weeks, like clockwork, a new crisis. And every time, I paid. The truth about family emergencies: some are real, most are exaggerated, and they will never stop. Thai culture emphasizes family obligation, and you as the foreign husband become the family ATM. Her mother's medical bills might cost 5,000 baht, but she'll say 20,000 and pocket the difference. Her brother might not need a new motorcycle, but you'll buy it anyway because saying no makes you the cheap Farang. Set boundaries from day one. Create a monthly family budget, say 5,000 baht, and stick to it. No emergency fund, no exceptions. If she pushes back, if her family pressures you, if she cries and says you don't understand Thai culture, stand firm. The moment you cave on the first emergency, you've established that you're an open wallet. Lesson #4: Business. Don't invest in her business dreams. She wants to open a restaurant, a bar, a guest house, a salon, a clothing shop. She has a plan. She'll work hard. It'll make money. You'll get returns. It's an investment in both of your futures. Don't do it. The business will fail, drain money endlessly, or succeed but somehow never show profit. Why? Because most small businesses in Thailand barely break even when run well. Because she has no business experience. Because Thai business culture is deeply relationship-based and you're an outsider. Because the money you invest will leak to family, friends, or her Thai boyfriend. My restaurant cost me $50,000 over 8 months. It never made a profit I could verify. Where did the money go? I still don't know. Some to equipment, some to rent, some to somchai, some vanished into the gap between her claims and reality. The rule: never invest money you can't afford to lose completely, never invest in a business you don't directly control, and never, ever put business assets in her name thinking love will protect you. Lesson #5: Sinsot. Sinsot is a cultural scam dressed as tradition. They say it's an ancient tradition, a sign of respect to the bride's family, a demonstration that you can provide. In modern Thailand, especially with educated women, sinsot is largely symbolic and often returned. But for rural families and bar girls presented as traditional women, sinsot is a payday. They'll ask for 500,000 baht. You'll negotiate to 200,000. You'll feel like you got a deal. You lost. My stance: offer a small, reasonable amount, say 50,000 baht, as a gesture of respect. If they demand more, walk away. A family that sees your marriage as a financial transaction will continue to see it that way forever. You're not buying a wife. If that's what it feels like, you're in the wrong relationship, and get it in writing that it's a symbolic amount to be returned. Don't trust verbal promises. This cost me $6,000 that I never saw again. Lesson #6: Red flags. The red flags were there. I ignored them. Looking back, the warnings were everywhere. The old customer at the restaurant who looked at Kanika knowingly and made her panic, her phone secrecy and password changes, the way her friends would stop talking when I entered the room, her insistence that everything be in her name for legal reasons, her emotional withdrawal despite my increasing financial investment, the business that constantly needed money but never showed profit, Tom trying to warn me by inviting me out more, by creating distance between me and Kanika. Why did I ignore them? Because admitting the red flags were real meant admitting I'd made a catastrophic mistake. It meant admitting I was alone. It meant confronting the sunk cost. If I left after spending 100,000, it was all wasted. If I stayed and invested more, maybe it would work out. The truth, your gut knows. That uncomfortable feeling when something doesn't add up, that's your survival instinct trying to save you. Listen to it, trust it. Don't let desperation or pride override your instinct. Lesson #7: Thailand. Thailand is not your friend. This isn't about individual Thai people, some of whom are kind, genuine, and honorable. This is about the system. Thailand's legal structure, business regulations, and cultural dynamics Create an environment where foreign men are inherently vulnerable. The realities: you can't own land. Business ownership requires a Thai majority partner. Marriage doesn't grant you property rights. Courts favor Thai nationals in disputes. Visa regulations keep you perpetually temporary. Cultural language barriers prevent you from understanding what's really being said. Thailand is designed to extract wealth from foreigners while preventing foreigners from establishing permanent stakes. You are always, legally and culturally, an outsider. You can visit, you can spend, but you can't belong. And the moment you forget that, the moment you believe you're different, you become vulnerable. My advice: if you must live in Thailand, rent everything. Keep your money offshore. Set a fixed monthly budget and stick to it. Assume that any Thai woman in a massive age gap relationship is partly motivated by money. Get a prenup, though they're hard to enforce. DNA test any children. Trust your instincts. And never, ever believe you're special or different or that the normal rules don't apply to you. Lesson height, the biggest. Don't sacrifice your security for anyone. This is the core lesson. I gave up my financial security for someone who saw me as a resource. If I hadn't met Kanika, if I just rented a small place and lived modestly, I'd have $600,000 today. I'd be able to retire comfortably. I'd have options. Instead, I have $285,000 at 62 years old, dwindling health, and no safety net. The math is brutal. If I'd kept my money and lived on $3,000 a month from investments, I'd have been fine forever. Instead, I'm rationing what's left and hoping I die before the money runs out. The warning: your retirement savings are your life raft. Once they're gone, you're drowning. No woman, no relationship, no dream of tropical paradise is worth that. Protect your foundation first. Build a relationship second. And if anyone asks you to risk your security for them, they don't actually care about you. These 7 lessons cost me $250,000 in 3.5 years. I'm giving them to you for free. Maybe someone will listen. Maybe someone will see themselves in my story and make a different choice. That's the only way my disaster means anything. If you're watching this or reading this, you're probably at a crossroads. Maybe you've just arrived in Thailand and met someone young and beautiful who makes you feel alive for the first time in years. Maybe you've been there a while and something feels off, but you can't quite name it. Maybe you're already deep in and wondering how to get out. Don't do what I did. Don't put property in her name. Don't fund the business. Don't send endless money to her family. Don't ignore the red flags because you're afraid of being alone. You'll end up 62 years old in a cheap apartment in Vietnam, watching your money shrink every month with no one to blame but yourself. If you're considering Thailand, visit. Don't move permanently right away. Keep your money in your home country. Rent, never buy property. Set a strict monthly budget and stick to it. Assume bar girls and massage workers are still working, no matter what they say. Get a prenup if you marry. DNA test any children. Trust your instincts above all else. If you're already there and seeing red flags, don't throw good money after bad. The sunk cost is already gone. Don't lose more trying to salvage it. Get out before it's too late. Your pride isn't worth your future. There's no shame in admitting a mistake and cutting losses. The alternative to leaving is what I see in bars across Southeast Asia. Broken 70-year-old men nursing beer at 2 p.m., telling war stories about the women who destroyed them, surviving on $800 a month, too poor to go home, too stubborn to admit defeat. I'm 62 years old. I have $285,000 left. I live in a small apartment in Da Nang, Vietnam. This is what 7 years in Southeast Asia cost me: half my retirement, all my dignity, and any illusions I had about love transcending age or culture. You still have time. You still have your money. You still have a choice. Make the right one. Learn from my story. Don't become another one. Thailand is beautiful, but it can be beautifully cruel. Protect yourself, because no one else will.